Our speaker today is Thomas Bird with Paychex. I'll let him take it from here. So, I've been with Paychex for a little over 2.5 years now. I was introduced to the company when I did some business development work at BECU, and just seeing how they helped my clients and wanting to get out of the 9-to-5 structured schedule. It was a perfect opportunity, and so I jumped over. Basically what I knew about payroll was I got a check and enjoyed that. So as soon as I got hired on, for any new rep, Paychex sends you to first 2 weeks of training, which for most sales jobs, that's a sales training. With Paychex, it was 2 weeks of, if you're a business owner, this is what you have to do to do payroll. So instantly, it was just eye-opening of everything that goes into it. With one employee, you have 36 separate filings and tax remittance during the year. I never knew all that. So it was really eye-opening and a great experience just to see what the process was that business owners go through, and then go back after another month for a week of the actual sales and product training. So we're actually the only one in the industry that starts the career by learning payroll. Everyone else does just the sales training. So that's we've been on the list of top training organizations for many years. Every year our employees go through a total of over 1 million hours of training. So lots of training. Got to know what you're talking about sometimes. So more about me. I'm married. I have, like I said, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, both girls, and a 15-year-old stepson, turning 16 on Saturday. Grades are bad, so he's not getting his license yet, but that's another story. Right, exactly. Until we get that good student discount, no driving. But I grew up in downtown Puyallup. Well, first I grew up in Ording, and then we moved to Puyallup. I went to Puyallup High School. After that, went down to Brazil and spent about 1.5 years down there doing a church mission trip. And it was quite the experience as a 19-year-old to be put in another country and see how great we have it. And also learn about a new culture. Understanding things in different ways, seeing things from a different perspective, and seeing how it's material things don't make happiness. The people around you and the joy that you can take from life is really what makes happiness. So that was a really good experience. Came back, went to flight school to be a pilot. I'd always wanted to be a pilot. Been around planes my whole life. Could name anything in the sky. And then some of my friends got hired onto airlines, and I decided I didn't want $100,000 in student loans to make $28,000 a year. So I started working at a racetrack down in Utah, and eventually managed the sales team down there. We did corporate events and hospitality during races, and team building for companies, things like that. Created a cool program. We had a NASCAR and created a team building program where the NASCAR would drive up. Everybody had their pit crew duties. So one's on the jacks, one's on the tires, one's on the wheel gun. And so I had a lot of fun with that. It was more of the fun, I'm still young kind of job. So fast forward today, payroll, Paychex. We've been around for about 45 years, and when we got started, there really wasn't a resource for small businesses. Payroll services were for large corporations, and the small guys basically had to fend for themselves. So our founder borrowed $3,000 from his grandma, and out of her basement started Paychex. So in those 45 years, we've grown to over 670,000 clients nationwide. We have operations in Brazil and Germany, and hold no debt as a corporation, which is great, knowing that we're stable. If anybody has followed Paychex stock, it's one of the most steady. You're not going to get rich overnight, but in the long run, it's a good, solid bet. Through the 45 years, we've continued to innovate our products so that we can offer more to the small businesses than ever before. So we really listen to our clients, what they need and what they want, and then put a plan to bring that to them in a cost-effective way. So we're not just payroll. We also offer HR assistance, whether it's the standard HR website that all of our clients have access to answer your HR questions. So you don't Google them. Never Google an HR question. If you have one and don't have access, call me, because chances are the information's for another state, from somebody else. You don't know where it came from. And like my college English professor said, if you cite Wikipedia on a paper, you automatically fail. Same thing with HR. You Google the answer, chances are you're going to fail. So that basic website, all the way up to a full HR generalist that can come out to the business, write policies, procedures, conduct trainings, and create the culture that you want for your business. Also, employee handbooks, which are very important. And it's also important not to just borrow your brother-in-law's that he had for his company from 10 years back and put your name on it. If anything were to happen where an employee makes a claim against you, first thing they're going to say is, all right, what does the handbook say? If you say, I don't know, or what handbook, then the experience is going to go a little different way than you want it to.
Handbook saying that it's false.
Yeah, employee handbook. Well, and then you can have additional policies, whether it's safety policies, OSHA, WISHA compliance, things like that. But then we are also the largest third-party administrator for 401k in the nation. So we don't advise on plans, but we do the administration work. So all of the stuff that I'm glad I don't have to know, because I have my 401k partner for that. And then also health insurance. We're a very large health insurance agency, have access to a lot of different insurance plans, and it's nice, she's not here, but having Aetna as a good resource to complement all of that's great too. But especially with the Affordable Care Act, none of us in here have over 50 employees, but with all the new regulations and reporting for health insurance, it's nice to provide that to our clients. All of this is centered around payroll, though. That's the reason we do it. Because your 401k, there's a payroll report that goes with 401k. For health insurance, all of the employee information is within payroll. For, of course, HR, all the employee data. So we've grown so that we can provide the small businesses the resources of a Fortune 500 company without having to be that or having to pay as if they were a Fortune 500 company. So this handy dandy thing, well, first, a little bit more bragging. One fact, last year we transferred over $600 billion. So over $500 billion we transferred, which makes us the 9th largest mover in funds in the US based on volume. So if we were a bank, basically, we'd be the 9th largest bank in the nation. So a lot of money, a lot of responsibility, definitely. And so we have quite a large insurance policy that covers our clients and all of the employees in the event that anything were to happen. Data breaches, things like that you hear about. Luckily, we haven't had anything like that because we invest a lot in our security. We've been named year after year one of the world's most ethical companies, which is, of all the stats, my favorite. The first year of their list, they wanted to set out to find 100 companies. They only found 88 that met all of their criteria, and we made it that first year. Next year, they lowered some of the criteria just a little bit to get that 100 number, but we've been on it since that started. So in this, our wheel of services, or sometimes as some of the reps refer to as the wheel of death, because you can get into a talking spiral, going into every single thing that we do and sit for hours and hours. But it's just a good representation of what we do, starting with HR admin. So when you hire a new employee, it all starts with admin. So you've got to interview, you offer them the job, they accept, you need to onboard them. So that's all within our HR portion. HR then moving throughout the employment of said employee up to termination, and whether it's termination, retirement, and how to process that. Then time and labor management, we have online cloud-based timekeeping solution, which is awesome. Employee dashboard, I'll kind of show really quickly, but employees can jump online, see all of their pay stubs, W-2s, they can see their schedule. If you change their schedule, they're notified. They can request time off, look on a calendar, see who has time off. Well, 3 people already have that day off, might as well not even ask. Manager or whoever approves then looks at all the requests and can grant or, wow, that went quick. So that's, it's a pretty awesome system. Does a lot, basically. Payroll, of course. So we help the business owners. Basically, all the responsibility is tell us the hours or the wages, and then we'll do the rest. We do the quarterlies, end of year work, and take on the liability for that. Don't need to really go into much of the other things, but yeah.
Do you offer samples for smaller companies, and if you don't, do you offer the facilitation for the employee, to move the money over?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we offer simples. Well, we partner with advisors to offer the simples. Our main focus is if they want to move to the 401k, because there's that's kind of our forte, but we do offer the simples, yeah. And again, just the admin portion.
So you could work with Mike John and do the facilitation, do the payroll production?
Yep, exactly.
And that's what they do for my office. So you just look at the report and then I just give him a check.
Okay.
They track it all and then they know how much to pay.
So really quickly, I'm short on time. He told me I only had 1 minute left, so. So I'm gonna pick on Kevin. All right, so you wanna hire a new employee. You wanna hire a new employee, what's your process? How do you find them?
Either referral or Craigslist.
Okay, so you get the resume, you weed through a bunch of resumes that don't apply, then you interview. What's your process after the interview?
Process after I interview.
Mm-hmm. So you like them, you want to hire them.
Okay. Come in and they would fill out like the W-2 form. We have a sheet that gives us all their information, like desk phone number, emergency contact. Basically, just a small packet.
So, yep.
Yeah.
And then you take that info, put it into your system, So part of our recruiting and onboarding process, I'll just kind of show you. So what we do is you say, I want to hire a new employee. This is the job. We write the job description, and then we take that and we put it out to all the different job sites, and also include a link on your website that they can go to and click apply. So when they see the job, so this is Paychex, but it would be your logo. They do the job search, they find what they want, and so they want to be a customer service rep. Goes through that, the job description, all of the information, and then they apply right there. After they apply, yep, exactly. Based off of what you tell us, this is what we're looking for. Then what we do is we build in a whole bunch of filters. So we find out exactly the type of employee that you want. Because working with one of our HR generalists, a lot of them have a lot of experience in hiring. And so finding the right person, digging through the BS of a resume, and so applying those filters so you only get the resumes that you want to see. So they come in, you have a little schedule, and you can schedule their interview. They come in and interview, and you love them, they're great. And so you send out an email with the job offer. Within that is a link. The new employee goes to that link, and in there, they do their login, all of their resume information, because we captured it on their initial application, then feeds into this system. So they go through, and here's their resume. They click down here to DocuSign it, because, yeah. So they DocuSign their W-4 right there, already filled out. They make sure it's right, DocuSign. Any policies, the employee handbook, all of this is right here for them to review. They click DocuSign. Any other things you need them to sign, and then just the last final review. Then you're saying, yes, everything I did was right. So what happens is, when that email goes out with the job offer, they're filling all of this stuff out before they even come to work. So on day one, all the paperwork's done, everything's in the system, and you can start training.
You're not paying for that too.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go too. So just like with what we try and do in payroll, making things more efficient, saving you time, presenting your company in a way that you want it presented. Because imagine if I'm applying for a job and first day is just a big mess, and it was kind of, things were fumbled and didn't seem like they knew what they were doing. The most important question a new employee is going to be asked is at the end of the day when they go home, how was your first day? Most important, because that's going to kind of guide them on the path of, I'm super stoked, this is awesome, or hopefully it gets better. So presenting your company in a very high-tech, we're with it, we're organized, that'll blow them away. Just another example of some of the things that we're constantly doing to bring more of that big business infrastructure and organization to small businesses. So covered a lot. Felt like it went quick. What questions do we have?
So is that a la carte service, or like everything's included, or do you have to, would that be a charge, an additional charge?
So,
for services?
yeah, so everything that we do can be in a package or a la carte. So there are different packages that include everything, or you can say, I just want this or this. So yeah, there's a lot of flexibility and customization.
So theoretically, if I knew a company that could use your services and just recently lost someone who was doing a lot of that payroll stuff,
Theoretically, I'd love
yeah.
to talk to them.
What's the cost comparison for like an employee? Could you look at that and say?
Yeah,
okay,
so just to look on a big scale, if a business is using our full services, every single thing that we do, the cost works out to be about the cost of a minimum wage employee. That with dedicated reps for HR, dedicated contacts for 401k, health insurance. So yeah, looking at cost basis, of course there's still somebody physically doing the things at the office, but the amount of time that's being saved by that person to do other tasks outweighs the the monthly cost.
The liability factor, doing all that paperwork that night, if you have someone in your office trying to do it.
Yeah.
Talk about EPLI insurance, employee practices liability insurance. When you screw up, somebody sues you, and you may or may not have that coverage on your policy.
Yeah, and everything that we do, the average salary for an HR person in the office to do all of that is $80,000 to $90,000 a year. So, yeah, but then I mean it can be as cheap as less than your cell phone bill for just the services that you need. So that's why a lot of times people say, well, how much is it? Well, let me understand what you want and what you want to get out of it, and then then we can present a solution.
And they can keep their own health insurance provider or their own, everything's facilitated through you.
Yep.
Okay.
And when it comes to paying employees, does the money all go to Paychex, then it gets divvied out from there, or is it more so you guys are just in charge of the bank account, auto mailing stuff?
So if everything's direct deposit, then yeah, we pull out a chunk, pay the employees, pay the taxes, do all of that. If they're getting live checks, then it can be written off the business's account, so it's not taken out until they cash the check. A lot of times businesses choose that when they're worried about cash flow.
If you know anybody that has an in-house payroll person in their business, or they do it themselves, there's no situation where it makes sense for you to spend the time for yourself. Just you can do just yourself. The only person in the business, I would pay the $30 a month it would cost you to just process it correctly and not to take the chance of screwing up your taxes.
I'm just going to bring Mandan with me on appointments now.
What about variable hours? Sorry, go ahead. People who have variable hours, I mean, how do you do that? Somebody still has to count those hours and get that information to you first.
Yep. So you can either do it on paper, use your own time clock, or we have a time clock that clock in and out. It's all internet based, so if you have employees that work off-site, they can punch in and punch out from their phone, and it shows you on the map where they clocked in and out. And then at the end of the pay period, you just review that and submit it to us, and we process.
So I think a lot of small businesses are reluctant to get into somebody do their payroll until they get to a certain size. What's your recommendation on that? And just said, if you got one employee, you should do that.
A lot of times, number one, my average client size in this area is 4 employees. So a lot of people I talk to, I'm too small for a service. You're not too small for the IRS. And you're not too small. The regulations and the rules are the same no matter if you have 1 employee or 1,000. Well, of course there are some differences with COBRA and health insurance and all of that, but as far as payroll, it's all the same. There are on average, there are 8 million penalties average per year from the IRS. And so if you're starting your business, this is your baby. Number one, do you want to waste time on admin tasks, or do you want to grow the business? Number two, why take the time to learn something new and keep up with all of that when you can just tell us hours and you're done? The biggest thing though is starting your business out on the right foot. If you're 6 months, a year into the business and you get a penalty from the IRS, are you going to have the cash to be able to cover that? Or are you going to be one of those numbers of small business attrition? pretty much it.